I know this is a different kind of video than what most people would be used to based on how I do my intro or talking displacement. But this video specifically I'm making because of a statement that got dropped recently and my love-hate relationship with this game constantly and how I feel about it. And I feel like as someone who plays the game has spent probably in total between both games on console and PC probably 500 hours, maybe even 600 hours. Um, I feel I really should put my mind out there and kind of just hope to God they're listening, but they're probably not. But who cares? I'm just doing this. So, Destiny 2, or Destiny as a whole, has been a very much a love-hate relationship with me, mostly because of the fact that I see a good charm with it. I see a game that has some interesting ideas going for it, interesting design, especially for Bungie after they broke away from Halo. You know, I love how the world looks, the environment. I love how each of the characters are designed. I like how the classes are designed. I think the weapons are really cool. I like the different combinations of powers, both from how it was in Destiny 1 to how it is in Destiny 2. There's a lot of stuff that I actually really do enjoy and have some good things to say about it. But the rest of the game that it lacks is what makes me really upset. Because they have a good idea, it's just missing so many other things that I know that I'm not a game developer. I know that I don't know the ins and outs. I know that I don't know that this is not something that you just flip a switch and everything is okay type of deal. I understand that there's so much that I don't fully understand in the industry. But when people have been constantly asking about certain features and it takes you 7 months to release it, that really shows me something. Like, I can understand if it's an issue that is hard to implement because it could make things super messy or terrible. There's still discussions going on with Warframe with certain changes that people have been wanting, but it's take a while before they got them out. But they at least bring out things that people have asked for from time to time. I feel like a lot quicker. And it's something that has frustrated me. So the reason the central thinking is starting to come to my head is because Luke Smith, one of the head people at Bungie, the directing person at Bungie or whatever, I forget what title he's supposed to be. It doesn't even say much. Um, it was after Activision was saying that they were disappointed with Destiny 2 Forsaken and they were going to add more monetization into it. Well, this guy basically said, oh, we're not disappointed with Forsaken. We set out to build a game with that Destiny players would love, and at Bungie we love it too. Building Destiny for players who love it and will remain our focus going forward. And that made me very upset. Because if you cared about us, if you cared about the player base, if you cared about all of this, you would not have pulled the stunts you did both in Destiny 1 and in Destiny 2. Now, I can understand that a company can, make a mistake and learn from the mistakes and do better. I get that. But to be brutally honest, even though I did not play Destiny 1 when it first was released, I've seen what it done. To basically give a quick backstory for people who don't know, and I know this is a tangent to the discussion, but I just want to say this out there. When Destiny 1 was released, it had a lot of hype. Obviously, it had a lot of hype because of the fact that, it was the first time we're seeing a game from Bungie that's not Halo. This is their first game that breaks away from the monotonous that they've been used to doing since 2001. We usually don't see that often with game studios. Usually a game studio is only known for one thing, and that's, that game. With DICE, it's Battlefield. We almost never see them do much else besides Battlefield, and the list goes on. So when we heard that they were making this brand new IP, that it caused a lot of hype, and there's that whole discussion about hype, but that's not it. And so when it got released, a lot of people were playing it, a lot of people were enjoying it. It was getting some good praises from a lot of players within the first couple of hours. But after the first day was when we noticed something that a lot of people were discussing. For one, you could finish the entire mainstream campaign in like 2 hours. Sometimes even less than that. And you have a cutscene where one of the guys named the speaker basically says, I could tell you the stories of the traveler, but I will not. And then he tells you to go do a mission. Everything starts to build up to this one moment. You fight against this giant boss in the Black Garden. And then you get this cutscene. And then it says, congratulations, you finished Destiny. And you're like, wait, what? That's it? And that's it. That's all that happens. And then you're stuck grinding to get yourself to a certain thing. In the old Destiny, it was to get your light level to like 26 or 28. And that's a whole slew of bullcrap. And so it was so dry. There was nothing else besides that. And it was one of the saddest things to me, was that a game that was being built up, saying that the budget was $500 million, that they spent all this money on all these crazy commercials, and this is the reward we get. And it doesn't make sense. And then when they released DLC, it was even worse, because you could finish the DLC in almost an hour as well, and then you're stuck with just a grind fest to make sure you have enough light level so you can do the raids. And that's it. There really wasn't much else content to go by. It was very much just the repeating the same factor without much of a reward. And then when House of Wolves came out, it was the same problem, besides one added feature I will give them, which was Prisoner of the Elders. That was a lot of fun, and I enjoy Prisoner of the Elders a lot. But that's the only real new thing that was enjoyable. It was still back to doing strikes, doing bounties, doing the same thing, and then hope to God the game gives you the right equipment so you can upgrade your armor, so you can make your stuff powerful. And it wasn't until the Taken King DLC where I thought they released a legit content pseudo-rich of stuff for the price. And again, I bought the entire collection for $60, so I didn't get to buy it full price like everyone else. So my judgment's a little bit askew, I'll admit that. But it had more involvement with its missions. It felt like you were doing more things than just the past expansions. It felt like there was more story going on than the other games. Like, I actually don't even remember what happened in Dark Below or House of Wolves, per se. House of Wolves, I think you were just helping, I think her name was like Petra, stopping this other clan, House of Fallen, to not overtake the queen or something like that. Dark Below, I don't even remember what happened there. It was gone so quickly. But the Taken King, I know what happened. It was because you killed Oryx's, I guess, son, Crota, which was in the raid that I'd never done. And he was coming back basically for revenge. We got introduced to a new enemy type called the Taken, and we had some new different gameplay styles. It wasn't full-blown gameplay styles, but it was something. With all these different stuff. The Dreadnought had a lot of special little missions going on involved with than just the other patrol missions. And it actually felt like it had more enjoyment leading up to the final boss to the campaign. And then the actual end game parts of Taken King were more enjoyable, because then after you finish the Taken King, then you're given a bunch of quests about, okay, now here we're dealing with the aftermath of the Taken. The aftermath, the fact that the Dreadnought is still there. And so that actually got enjoyable for a while. And again, I've never done the raid, so I can't say how the raids felt in terms of the content. But it felt more enjoyable than the past other two. Like, it felt like I put more time, I had more time worth with Taken King than any other DLC. And that's really sad to say that. A game like Destiny was already content dry. They released 2 other DLCs that are content dry for $40. Then they released this for, I think, $40 or $60. And that was the only time that they actually did something good. Plus, the Taken King redefined the entirety of the game. Now, where have we heard all of this progress before? Destiny 2. Destiny 2 exactly did this. It's a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same. Destiny 2 did a better job with a lot of changes that I very much enjoy, especially launching a solid PC release that I never thought I would see the light of day with Bungie, because Bungie was known for attacking PC players in the past. So seeing a game that has uncapped frame rate, FOV support, and a bunch of other options for PC, and the greatest of degree, no force acceleration, at least from what I've noticed, and great PC controls, like this game is perfect for a PC platform, and I was surprised by that. The gameplay was a lot more enjoyable. You can finish the entirety of the campaign in about 4 to 5 hours. I feel like it's a little bit more content rich with the cutscenes, unlike the other Destiny 1, which didn't really have a whole lot. It felt like missions have better standing than they did in the past, because in Destiny 1, it just felt like you just go to an area and kill one guy. In Destiny 2, it felt like you're doing multiple objectives, blowing up reactors, and actually feeling like you're involved in a story. It always does end with you killing a boss, but at least it feels a little bit more. Not like, and not saying it makes it, but you know what I mean. But at least it was something a little bit more enjoyable than it was in the past. Things were more easier to pick up stuff, while originally it was almost incredibly rare to ever see a new weapon or a new armor piece. While in Destiny 2, you can almost get like a total of 10 to 15 new items after doing one little mission. That was really cool. There are so many things that they did that I thought was better. But when Curse of Osiris came out, same problem. It was very content dry. It was a short little mission, and then you rescue Osiris, and that's it. And then you're just done. You're left with repeating the same mission over and over, and hope the game gives you enough power level to get yourself up. And the same thing applied with Warmind. Warmind also did add a new feature I thought was pretty cool, which was escalations. Escalations were actually a really cool feature and a really cool challenge mode, similar to what I thought about Prisoner of Elders. And then we have Forsaken, which not only added more cutscenes to it, at least from what I've noticed, it added a huge story-relevant situation, unlike the other two, which you could ignore the story relevance and it wouldn't mean nothing. And then it completely rehauled the entire game to the point that it's nothing like how it was in the past. This is literally a repeat of Destiny 1, and it sucks. And it sucks so much how I feel about that. Because yeah, I enjoy my time. I have enjoyment with this game. I still think it has a lot of fun for what it is. The shooting feels great, and the environments are still pretty cool. But you cannot ignore that it's exactly the same problem as beforehand. They change way too much to make the grind even worse. And that's the problem with this game. Is the fact that instead of actually things being enjoyable and adding more things, like why can't they just retroactively add some new strikes from time to time? Maybe have it, like, it would be really cool if they could, like, release some old strikes from Destiny 1, but do it in such a way that they're considered legacy repeats or something. Without, you just release this into the game or something like that. That would be a cool feature. Maybe reduce certain features that wouldn't be overbearing. For example, I don't like the fact that they changed the infusion system, being how it was in the past, to making it to where now it's very difficult to do infusions in general. And it felt like they did that on purpose to make people not get to level 600 so quickly, because they knew that that would happen. Or they wanted people to force them to not use the same armor that they're used to all this time, which is insulting. Because for someone like me who wants to make sure I look the way I want to look with an armor setting, that's how I want to be. But now, because of this, I'm locked below 500 because I can't get enough enhancement cores, which are hard to find a lot of the times, and you need 25 materials that are random on which weapon is going to need what at times. And yes, there's 3 bounties you can complete every single day. That will get you 30 material on top of opening chests, doing public events, and finding on the map. But still, it's frustrating to me that they added a more massive grind. They got rid of the token system that you used to turn into the guys like Devran from EDZ to get some more items from them, like exclusive legendaries that are only from these people, which is what people like to do. They want to collect these. But now you don't even want to do that because you want to keep them so you have the materials to do infusions later down the line and other upgrades. Why did you do this, Destiny? Why did you do this, Bungie? What thought process did you think this was a good idea? And not only that, if players were complaining about this right now, because I don't check Reddit, I don't like that website personally, but if there are people talking about this, you should be listening to them. Because I'm probably not the only one who feels like there's problems with this. Did I have enjoyment with this game? Yes, I did, especially with Forsaken. I thought the Forsaken expansion was pretty cool, but it ended sour. It ended in a sour way. And now they're making us pay $35 more for 3 extra contents that's probably going to be even more content dry that's even more insulting. And they want to talk about the fact that they love their players, they love their audience, and they want to make this a great game to play. How about don't make the grind ridiculously stupid? How about you return to how Destiny 1 did its infusion system, where it takes 10 of the materials? How about you do that? That would be nice. That would actually be a pretty nice idea. Maybe have it to where you where there's a lot of there's ghosts that can do all planet material searching for a short time or something like that. That's another thing. I hate the fact that ghosts are so specific. Why can't I have a shell I like with an ability I like? Why can't you do something like that? Although I'm worried if they do that, they're probably going to make it more monetizable or some bullshit. The changing of the mod system was good on one side, but how hard it is to get mods is also frustrating. And if you want to be able to be a good guardian and do all these raids and nightfalls in the most perfect way possible, it's really dumb. You can tell that they're doing these artificial pushback grinds because they know their game is content dry. And that's my problem. Is them saying that they care about this doesn't make any sense to me. Because if you did care about your fan base, if you did care about the player base most of all, you would not have said what you have said in the first couple of months when Destiny 2 was released. You would not have done the shaders bullcrap at being consumables. You should have brought them back as the way they should have been, just like they were in Destiny 1. Or this whole collection of things that you added, where now you can repurpose every single vehicle, shell, ship, shader, weapons, and armor at any point in time as long as you have the items to do that. That's awesome that you have that feature. Here's the problem. Why didn't you do that from the very, very freaking beginning? Maybe it was something you didn't think about, sure. But the fact that you never thought about that from a community that's been constantly complaining and your player base has been dropping to the point that you gave the game out for free and a bunch of other stuff that I can tell you're bleeding dry, it just tells me that you don't really care. You only push back when the numbers drop. You only push back when there's not enough. And that's my problem. And it sucks. Because yes, I still play the game. And if I have all these complaints and all these problems, I shouldn't be playing this game. I shouldn't be supporting it. But that's really hard to say. Because, I mean, if that was the case, Siege would not be as good as it was today. Siege had a terrible launch, was not well received by most people in the community. They hated the fact that it was $60 with microtransactions insanity, and they could have dropped that game to an oblivion, and we would not see the way Siege has become. But now we have a community with a lot of people. We have an esports league that is growing and starting to get close to hitting the Counter-Strike numbers. Same thing with Overwatch. We're getting these updates that they have been relatively listening to the community. They've made some missteps, but they're trying. We're getting a very diverse of characters, which I hate to bring that up per se, but I'm just going to say it anyways. We're about to get some 2 new people this year. They've been very good with how to do their map pools. This is a game that came because even though people complained and hated the game, they listened and they fixed it because they knew that they have someone that wants something. And Bungie has not done that. Not at all. They may have done some good things here and there, but they continue to keep making missteps. It's like they're taking 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. And they don't seem to understand why. For example, Eververse. They should stop making the Eververse being the way it is. I mean, that they released the bounty system to it now, so now you can get bright dust a little bit easier, which is nice. But why didn't you do it in the first place? Why didn't you make it to where you could like get bright dust occasionally while you're playing the game? Not as it wouldn't be super easy to earn them, but at least it would have been nice. Or maybe you should make it to where it doesn't have a loot box, where you can, you know, buy the stuff you want instead of rotating the store every couple of weeks. It's a lot of things like this. Couple of stuff that's been on my mind, you know, the strikes. When you remove the strikes from being individual selection when Destiny 2 launched, that was the one thing I hated. Why couldn't you just let us play strikes whenever we please? Why did you make it a playlist only? I mean, now you can do it now with Forsaken, but again, it took them so long to actually do that when people were asking it. Why did you make it to where we can't replay story missions whenever we pleased? That was one of the things I liked about Destiny 1, even though it was content dry, but I still like the fact that I could replay certain missions and have some certain dialogues that I think are funny. I love it when I hear Cade saying, "Hey, Zavala, you want to see a transmat to the Dreadnought?" And hearing Zavala saying, "You sent a Guardian to the Dreadnought without my authorization." I love that dialogue. I'd love to hear that. But with Destiny 2, you didn't do that. And even though you released the heroic story playlist thing, and you can still slightly select a mission you want to do, it's still restricted. It's still 5 missions that you can only do. You can't choose whenever you please. These are things that I don't understand why you didn't just do from the very beginning. I want your game to succeed. I really do. Because I love the gameplay environments. I love the story. In some cases, when you actually have a story, because you do a bad job actually trying to convey it. When in a 1 hour and 30-minute other YouTube video is much more interesting of a story than your actual game, you're doing something wrong. But if you really do care about the community, maybe you should actually listen. Because I don't see you listening. And even though some people are going to take this as them going, "Yeah, tell it to Activision, you don't back down." It's like, yeah, well, you're the ones who added microtransactions and loot boxes to a company that tax evades and a bunch of other stuff, not to get that out of the way. But still, I want to play games. I want to enjoy games. I don't want to feel like every new game that's being released is untrustworthy and not fun anymore. But I think that's all. I think that I'm done. You know, I'm close to 22 minutes, and I feel like I've been on tangents without being a clear view, but I tried my best. But I wanted to get it off my chest because it's been a huge gnawing problem the last couple of days after I heard that statement. I want games to be better. I want games to actually elevate in a lot of ways. And it really sucks when a game that I see a lot of potential is getting put off the map and them trying to say, "Well, we are listening to community," but it doesn't seem like you are. I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for listening. You guys have a wonderful day and take care.